In today's video, we're going to do a product review, and that review today is going to be on the Apex lockpick sets from Covert Instruments. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say I'm not sponsored by Covert Instruments or anybody else. Sometimes companies will reach out to me to see if I want to feature their products in my videos or do a review on them. In this case, I reached out to Covert Instruments because this looks like a really nice set and I wanted to feature it. What we've got here is the full range of the Apex lockpick sets currently. I do believe that Covert Instruments will be building on this set as time goes on, so there will be other evolutions to this set. So if you look on their website, you will see the fully loaded set. So that's as you see it here. You've got the 4 different trays of picks, 5 picks in each tray: Evo 1, Evo 2, Evo 3 and Evo 4. The idea being is that you will evolve in your lockpicking journey. You will start off with the black handle picks, which are 25 thousandths thick. And you'll sort of start learning to pick with those. As you start to pick more advanced locks, you'll move on to the Evo 2. The profiles are exactly the same as the Evo 1, but these green handle picks are 20 thousandths, so they're slightly thinner. You'll get into tighter locks, but they're not recommended for a beginner because beginners tend to use heavier tension, and with heavier tension you risk bending the shaft of the picks. And then as you go through to the Evo 3, we get some more kind of unique and unusual profiles, going through to the Evo 4, which has got the McTickler, and we've got a dimple rake, and various other profiles. So the idea being is that you can slowly, as your experience builds, you can build on it with the different pick evolutions. And you will also get the tensioner set. We'll have a look at this one separately. If you buy the fully loaded set as it stands, you get these 5 trays with the tools that you can see in it, and you also get this, which is the Synapse case, and that's designed to hold 2 of the trays together. So the idea being, we'll have a look at this in greater detail, is you will hold your tensioners in, and then whichever set you're picking in, you hold that in, and the 2 kind of fold together like kind of like a book. You don't have to buy everything together. You can just buy the Apex EDC, and if the Apex EDC, you'll get the tensioner tray, and then I think you get your choice of one of these Evos. So if you're a beginner, you'd choose these 2, and you'd get the case together with that. So I think what we'll do now is we'll just have a look at the way these picks are designed to be held in these trays, because each tray is exactly the same. For the picks, we've got these little magnets up here, and the picks just snap back in. To release them, you just press the bottom of the pick and it snaps up. Nice little fidget aspect. And I do really enjoy it. My kids actually have sort of been sitting there playing about with these and just popping the picks out like that. But it's really good. I find that when I'm sat at the desk and I'm using various different picks, I can just kind of almost throw them back to the case and they just fall exactly back into their right place. I think what we'll do now is we'll just have a close-up look at the actual pick handles themselves. The design of the Apex pick handles is completely new. Previously, Covert Instruments picks were like this, which is the sort of popsicle or lollipop stick style of handles. And while they're nice and they're metal, they're nice and rigid, they're a little bit small. I find I've got quite large hands, so occasionally I do find them a little bit small to use. So these new Apex picks are, number one, they're quite a bit longer, I think about 1 centimetre or so longer. We'll measure them in just a sec, but they're also much thicker. So for someone like me with bigger hands, they're definitely more comfortable to use. The steel that's used in these is 301 high yield stainless steel, which is the best pick steel there is today, as far as I know. The steel doesn't run all the way down. It runs, I think it's about 1/3 of the way through, and then it goes into this handle. I'm not sure exactly what they're made of. It's some kind of resin. I think it might be kind of, I don't know, it's not carbon fibre, but I think it's fiberglass infused or something like that. It just ends up making it really, really thick. I'm having a lot of trouble kind of bending these. What that means is you've got a nice comfortable pick. They sit really nicely in the hand, and because it's such a sort of stiff material, you get some good feedback coming down from the picking shaft. The handles themselves are quite ergonomic. We've got this dip just here that sits really nicely when you're using them to pick, and you've got these kind of ridges there which, yeah, it just means you've got a really nice grip on it. I think some people can find with metal handle picks, particularly if your hands get sweaty, that they can become a bit slippery, but I certainly haven't found that with these picks. Before we go any further, we'll have a look at the Synapse case. I'm going to put these tensioners in one side and these picks in the other, and I'm going to show you a bit of a problem that I've found with this case. It does take a little bit of work to stretch this rubber case around these hard cases. I think I had to look up a instructional video on Covert Instruments website to see how it was done, because I didn't realise how tight it was. You really have to force it on there. But that means that it is secure, and it does hold those cases really well. It snaps shut. It's got a thick rubber surround on it, so if you dropped it, you're not going to damage the cases, and your picks are completely secure. They're not going to go anywhere in there. It's also got a really stiff clasp on it as well, almost too stiff, but then it's a new case. But yeah, the problem that I found with this is that it just snaps shut the second you let go of it. There's no way to keep the case open, so if you're working with it on your bench, or even if you're on site, you might want to rake a lock and then, grab a hook to get the lock fully open, or swap through different tensioners. Every time you remove your fingers, it just snaps shut, which is really annoying. I did speak to Rob at Covert Instruments about this. I wasn't sure if I'd assembled the case wrong or I was missing something, and he said that he was fully aware of it and he is working to find a solution to it. I think he said he had a different design of the hinge originally, but it ended up being a bit cost prohibitive, and they went with this option. Now, although it was a bit of a problem, first of all, I saw a Reddit post from Scorpiac, who had made a little bit of wire, something like this, and he used it to hold the case open while he was picking with it on the bench, which I think is a really good solution. Well, it's not a solution, it's a workaround, but it's one that works really well. If you want to see how to make this little clip, it's not too technical. I'll leave a link up there to a video I've got showing how it's made. We've got a really good selection of tensioners in this set, and they're all held into this case really quite securely. We've got magnets holding these ones in, and these ones up the top are held in, I think, by compression. But yeah, then I just don't think they're coming out too easily, unless you want to use them, in which case they're really easy to release. So these ones here, you just press down, and it breaks that magnetic lock, if you like. Use your tool and it just snaps back in. Similarly with these ones, you just press them down like that, release the tool and throw it back on and it snaps back. These ones here, the ergo tensioners, to release them, you just press down there and they are released. They're not held in with magnets, those ones. We've got a couple of different slots up there, and you've got these 3 cutouts in the back of the case, and the top of your tensioner goes into that. And then it kind of snaps into place like that. So they are different thicknesses. So we've got on these ones here, we've got 25 thousandths, 32 thousandths, 40 thousandths, and 50 thousandths. I think these ones here, similarly, I think they are marked. 50, 40, and 30 thousandths. A little bit faint, but you can just see it there. And same with these ones up here. I think we've got 50 thousandths, 40 thousandths, and 32 thousandths. So yeah, a good selection of tensioners. Why do you need so many tensioners? Well, because lock keyways are all very different. You might want to use top of the keyway or bottom of the keyway. And yeah, keyways, some keyways are wide, some keyways are narrow. So we just look at how these fit. I think on an American 1100 we can use the thickest tensioner. So yeah, you would use this top of the keyway, it would sit something like that, and you would apply a tension and it leaves you the bottom of the keyway free to pick. If you've got a lock that's got a more deeply recessed keyway, you'd use the deeper return. As you can see, that sticks out a little bit too far in this particular lock, and it makes it a bit kind of unwieldy, so it's better to use the shortest end you can for that particular lock. And then if we have a look at these tensioners, which are also top of the keyway, but they're ergo turners, which is just sort of means ergonomic, just means it's a little bit more comfortable. So they sit in the top of the keyway like that. And then if you're picking, your index finger rests on the tension somewhat like that, and you can pick more comfortably. With these ones here, as you can appreciate, the tension is sort of sticking up straight and your finger can start to feel a little bit strained. We'll have a look now at these tensioners. So these are double-ended. Let's get that one there. Let's try the thinner one. So these ones, this longer return can be used for bottom of the keyway, so you can slide it in. It's too big for that keyway. We'll try this one. Yeah, that slides into the bottom of the keyway, so you can tension it like that. And then your pick would sit just above that tensioner as we're looking at it. But you can also use the shorter end, I think, on this lock. Yeah, that can go on top of the keyway, something like that. Now, me personally, I pick a lot in vise. The locks are held in a vise, and I really like these tensioners. I've been picking a lot with this set, and I just find them more comfortable, and they give much better feedback. I find that these top of the keyway style tensioners can flex a little bit, and I like a really stiff tensioner, but it all comes down to preference. I think with this set you've got a nice selection to choose from. Before we get to looking at all the picking tips that come in this set, I just wanted to have another look at these cases, because each of the cases comes with this little puck on the back, and you've got a little arrow just there and a dot just there, and if I turn those two so they line up, that little puck comes out. Now currently it does absolutely nothing, but I think Covert Instruments are doing a lot of product development, and this is going to become a usable feature in the future, and I've got no idea what that application will be. Maybe there'll be some sort of stand that you can lock these picks into. I don't know. There's maybe you could strap it to your bike so you can pick locks while you're cycling along. I've got no idea, but I just thought I'd mention it because it goes to show that they're constantly thinking of different ideas and ways to increase the modularity, is that even a word? The modular nature of this set. Another thing about these cases is they do stack together. You can clip them together really quite securely if you were storing them on your bench or something like that, and they're not going to come apart. Nice little feature. We've got the Evo 1, Evo 2, Evo 3 and Evo 4. Now the black handles denote that this is the 25,000 set, a little bit thicker, much better for beginners. So the Evo 1 is a good place to start. We'll have a look at the profiles. So we've got a short flat hook going left to right, and then a medium round hook and a deep round hook. Nice to have in any set. A short hook, medium hook and a deep hook is going to get you into a load of different locks. And then we've got a couple of rakes in there. We have got the quad rake and the quint rake. So quint rake and the quad rake. So quint just meaning 5 peaks and quad meaning 4 peaks. Now as you advance and you lighten up on your tension, you might want to go for slightly thinner picks. They're greater for getting into tighter keyways and locks that you would have struggled to pick with the 25,000 thick picks. So all the green ones are 20,000s and the profiles are exactly the same as the Evo 1. So we've got the flat short hook, medium round hook, medium deeper hook, and the quad rake and the quint rake. So it's a nice selection to get you going. But then once you've kind of mastered those, you might want to move on to more exotic profiles. So in the Evo 3, we have got the gem hook there going left to right again. Gem hook's great for manipulating Medico pins, which are a more high security lock. I do find the shaft on this one a little bit thick, but it did get me lots of opens, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. We then move on to a gentle reach hook, which is, yeah, kind of a sort of scoopy spoon hook. I don't know really what to call it. When I first started picking with picks like that, I didn't really think they were going to get many opens, but you'll be surprised. And it's nice to, when you're picking through a lock, if you're struggling, you kind of swap through different profiles trying to find what works. And sometimes that will get you the opens that you can't get with other hooks. So then we move on to the scooped medium hook. So it's exactly the same as the medium hook in the Evo 1 and Evo 2 shown just there. But the inner side of it is kind of scooped out. That allows you to get up into awkward to reach pins or tighter keyways. I did use this particular profile quite a lot when I was practicing with these hooks. And then we move on to the DeForest Diamond, quite an unusual profile compared to the others. but really good to reach for when you've got open keyways, hard to reach pins down the backs of locks. A profile, again, that I like to reach for. And then we have got the crescent hook there. This one is really nice and thin, and I found that while the gem style hook, I found that shaft a bit thick occasionally. If I couldn't get that in, then I would reached for this crescent hook, and that kind of, yeah, got in there really well. It's similar to the scimitar profile, which was designed by Tiffany. Slightly different in that it's got a much more elongated tip, and it's a little bit thicker, but a really good profile to have in there nonetheless. So moving on, we've got the Evo 4. And in the Evo 4, once again, 20,000 denoted by the green handles. We've got a dimple rake, really nice to have, works great in certain locks, as rakes do. And then we have got, I'll just move to this one, we've got a double rake. Yeah, double rake, which is the same as these rakes, but you've only got 2 peaks on it. And then we've got 3 different hybrid picks. I think this one here was designed by Tiffany. This is the Nessie. Then we've got the McTickler, very famous pick, and you'll see McNally getting untold opens with that profile. And then we've also got the double McTickler. Yeah, double McTickler. So it's very similar to this one, but you've got 2 peaks on it instead of the 1. So hybrid picks like that are designed as a rake and a pick. So let's just grab that one there. So yeah, you would reach into the lock, you would rake the lock like you would with a normal rake, and then you might get a false set which tells you you've got spool pins, and spool pins can stop. Rakes do struggle with spool pins sometimes, so once you've finished raking, you can just turn it around and use the other side to single pin pick your way, and that's true of the McTickler and the double McTickler as well. Yeah, very nice profiles. Well, let's do a quick picking demo with some of these tools. I've got a selection of padlocks here. We've got all our tools, so let's see if we can't get it open. First of all, we've got a clear padlock. These aren't great for picking practice, but they should provide a quick demonstration. Let's grab what's that, quint rake, and we'll also grab a tensioner, and let's grab one of these, bottom of the keyway, a little bit of tension with my finger. Give them a wiggle, and we got it open super quick, a matter of seconds. I really like the way, there we go, these picks just snap back into these cases. When you're picking with them, you can just kind of almost throw them at the cases, and the magnets just suck them back into the cases. Oddly satisfying. Right, let's get this one here. I've got an ABUS, slightly tighter keyway. So let's reach for the top of the keyway. See if that one goes in. Yep, he does, and let's reach for, I'm going to reach for the McTickler. I'm really bad at hybrid picking. I need to practice it a little bit more. I'm going to kind of use it to single pin pick, stroke, kind of bitch pick. Oh, there we go. Within seconds, I got that one open. I'm really going to practice more with this profile. I've seen a lot of McNally short videos, and he gets some really rapid opens on, yeah, all sorts of locks. Lastly, we'll try this American 1100. So these ergo turners here are really designed for this lock. They sit flush against the lock body and very comfortable to pick with. Let's go for, we'll go for a medium hook there, and yeah, see what we've got. So we've got 5 pin stacks in the 1100, and we've got serrated pins and serrated spools. Good fun to pick. I just dropped some pins. I was concentrating on talking and not concentrating on my picking. A few nice clicks there. Must be getting close. Pin 4, pin 1, and we got that one open. Let's have a quick look at costs, and then we can conclude this review. So currently, if you were to buy everything you've seen in this review, so that would be the 4 Evos, 1, 2, 3, 4, the tensioner case, and then also this Synapse case, then it currently retails on the website for $200 plus shipping, but that gets you a whole load of picks and tensioners. But they also offer the Apex EDC, so that means one of the Evo trays, so it could be this one of those ones there, the tensioners, and I think you get this Synapse case as well, and that currently retails for $90 plus shipping. I couldn't see on the website whether you can buy these trays separately. I think you can, but I might have just been being a little bit thick. So there you go. That's the prices of these. So what do I think of them? I mean, let's get the negatives out of the way first of all. I just need to interrupt myself for a second. I was editing the video together and I realised that there was one criticism of this case that I failed to put into the original review. And I think in the interests of a fair and balanced review, it deserves to be in there. This is something that was pointed out to me by a subscriber on a previous video, so thanks Lockspaz for pointing it out. And that is to say that the case, as you see it here, is a closed ecosystem. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the case for the picks and the tensioners has been designed specifically around the Apex picks and the Apex tensioners. If you have got picks from other manufacturers, I've got a Jimmy Longs here, which are quite similar to the Apex picks. They won't fit in the same case. And the same is true for the tensioners. This tensioner case has been designed specifically around these tools. So if you've got tools from other manufacturers, or even if you've got other tools from Covert Instruments, I've got the Reaper set tensioners here, they are not going to sit comfortably in this set. Now, I think that Covert Instruments might be designing other trays in the future. But I can only go on what I've got here today. So it's just worth mentioning, if you are thinking of buying this set, that it is that closed ecosystem. It is just designed for the tools that come with it. Anyway, back to the video. I mean, let's get the negatives out of the way first of all. I really hated this case. I didn't hate the case, actually. That's not true. It's a really nice, well thought out case. It holds these really well, snaps together really well. I hate that hinge, but it was a problem that I solved, I think, on the first day that I got this by using that holder which holds them open. And then it's just sat on my desk ever since, quite happily, and I've kind of swapped out the picks with that, and picked by the TV, and it's really comfortable. I like the way that the magnets hold everything in, and also the way they sort of snap back in. As I say, I sort of sit there and work through different tensioners, work through different picks, and I just kind of throwing them back at the case, and they just snap back in. It's incredibly satisfying. I really like the design of a lot of the design elements in this pick set, because I think Covert Instruments have been thinking outside the box. This is the Genesis case, which was their first pick set, which is nice enough, but it's very similar to other things on the market. And I think they're trying to think outside the box and do things differently, stand out from the crowd, and come up with solutions like this. Which I like, because they can be built on in future. Little details like them snapping together, or the intriguing nature of this little puck and what that's going to lead to. So it's a set that can kind of grow with your skill level. I know that Rob did say he's got some thinner picks, so 15 thousandths coming out soon. I don't know if they're going to be duplicate profiles or a different colour, but I look forward to finding out. Anyway, I think on the whole, just except for that hinge, I think it's really good. You've got some really great innovations in there, and you've got some great tools to get you into a multitude of locks. Anyway, what do you think of this set? Have you got it yet? Are you going to get it? Don't forget to leave a comment below, like this video, and subscribe so you don't miss any reviews in future. Thanks to Covert Instruments for sending me this set. I've really enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video.